Hey, yo! Welcome back to the Duggans and Beyond, and we got, of course, the new college playoff format, the 12-team playoff in full swing right now, and also we, of course, have the NFL playoffs are coming up very, very soon. But hey, we have a lot of going on right now with, of course, these teams going in and seeing how we're going to really like this college playoff format in general. But going to the NFL, we have, of course, right now the only team that has clinched a, we have two teams that clinched a bye, of course, the Chiefs and the Lions for AFC and NFC. And, yeah, going along, Bills, Ravens, Texans, Steelers, all doing really well. And one team actually that is kind of surprising that just squeaked in right now with the wild card is the Chargers. And for, of course, the NFC is, of course, the Eagles, Rams, Bucks, and Vikings and Commanders and Packers also are doing well down there. With basically every other team is gone, and of course some teams have already placed spoils, as we already have seen with the Giants, of course, with the Colts losing their first overall pick and also taking the Colts out of the playoffs. But let's go a little bit back here to the Chargers. As I was kind of looking down, okay, I was like seeing on who of course who's on all these teams, of course, throughout here. But one guy really stood out was Max Duggan. If you remember him, you remember TCU going off 2 years ago. Now basically 3 years ago, 2025. But in 2022. Max Duggan, he went there to TCU 2019 to 2022 and was drafted by the Chargers in the 7th round with the 239th pick there. But in the 2022 season, he went off 15 games with a record for the Big 12 and 3,698 yards, and also another Big 12 record most that year with 32 touchdowns in that year. That year, they went on actually to, of course, go to the college playoffs and beat Michigan in a very close in the Fiesta Bowl, 51-45, and then continue to go on to the championship against Georgia and get destroyed, 65-7 in that one. Basically, looking like TCU just shouldn't have even showed up and shouldn't have even belonged in the playoffs at that point. But yeah, of course, that gets Max Duggan drafted as you have a great year. Go to the biggest stage in college football that they all want to, of course, be in. So he gets drafted, but this is where really this got kind of crazy, and I was like, wow, like this is insane. Like even some of the players we never ever hear from again, kind of like Max Duggan, kind of what was their journey like in the NFL situation here. So this is all just kind of insane. This happened last year in 2013 for most of this. On December 28th, he was waived by the Chargers, then re-signed to the practice squad. December 22nd, he got signed to the active roster. So they got rid of him, brought him back to the team, just you're gonna be here to practice. You're gonna be one of the dummies basically for the team. Then you're gonna come back a couple of days later. Literally, what is that? 4 days later, right there, you're coming back to the roster. 3 days later, on Christmas, he was waived again, but then re-signed to the practice squad 2 days later. So he basically just, like 7 days right now, he just bounced back and forth between active and practice. Literally just insane. And then 2024, January 11th, he was signed to the reserve/future contract, which is just kind of, I guess, you're just there, you're maybe sitting on your couch at home just watching the game, or maybe just in the stands there throughout and just watching it. Then you get January and then August 19th, so basically 6 months-ish around there. August 19th, he was released by the Chargers, and then just after he was, of course, about 6 months earlier, was signed to the reserve/future contract there. Not only that, now where is he? Oh yeah, he got now signed on December 19th, just recently, to the St. Louis Battlehawks of the USFL. Basically, the coach didn't want AJ McCarron to be their quarterback anymore. And hey, what? What? You just said AJ McCarron? Yes, I said AJ McCarron, the quarterback from that was basically crazy good for Alabama. And he got, of course, he got drafted in the 5th round, 164th overall in the 2014 draft. So this man got drafted 10 years ago. and basically just didn't really do much. He was on Cincinnati from 15 to 17, then went to Oakland, then went to Houston, and then back to Cincinnati in 2013. And in the middle of that, not only that, is that when he was in 2013, when he was on St. Louis, because their season starts in March, they basically brought him back for the season in Cincinnati in 2013, and then he went back to St. Louis here for the last year for the St. Louis Battlehawks. And honestly, not great. He really was not doing well. He so this last year in the for the Battlehawks, 9 games here. He started 8 of them with 255 attempts and 164 catches. So obviously some of them might have been just hits and just really not good catches by the other team, by his players. But hey, this man did 15 touchdowns that year. He actually had 24 the year before for the Battlehawks. But hey, this is just kind of crazy how this is. When I started researching this, I did not expect to see that. I remember that A.J. McCarron was in the UFL. I didn't actually remember if he was playing still for them, because you kind of in the UFL, you kind of getting around. And of course, we had the XFL and USFL have merged now for the first time to make the UFL the United Football League, which of course with the XFL in 2020 was owned by Andrew Luck's dad. Then of course we had the world shut down for a year and a half or so around there. Then we had The Rock and his business partner Danny Garcia buy up the XFL. Actually, I really liked the XFL in general. It was really entertaining. I kind of was like, okay, like these players have been either in the NFL or are trying to get there and have never been in that situation. But yeah, they now formed it, and I don't know if, I guess he bought the USFL, but that was last year's first year to make the UFL. So, but just interesting how these players can go. And more interesting is that we have Max Duggans' only stats for the NFL are in preseason. 2013, 2 games played with 6 completions with 12 passes and about 60 yards each for about 6 yards averaging with 30. And then 2024, same thing, almost the same thing. 1 game with 4 completions, 7 attempts, and basically 7 yards-ish averaging on those completions. So he basically played like 1 drive in that one. But hey, if you think about some player that you just haven't heard of, go and look up what they have, and you might just go in a whirlwind. Like, oh my god, that actually happened to him. He signed 4 days later, released, waived, all this kind of stuff. So this kind of stuff is just crazy, and it brought me into the mind because we, of course, have the playoffs going on, and the Chargers are in the playoffs. So, hey, knowing that he was there, and also this kind of makes me think that I kind of want to look up Sam Bennett, of course, played against Max Duggan in the championship for Georgia and got drafted by the Rams. Of course, had some personal issues that he went through. I think he went to rehab and stuff, so I'm definitely going to probably look up what happened with him. I think he's still with them, but of course, I have not done the research on him yet. But hey, of course, we have the Chargers now in the wild card round in the playoffs. So hey, see what happened. Go look up some random guy that you haven't heard of in a while, and you might see some crazy story about what's happened to him. I definitely did, and I'm actually kind of impressed that this happened, and kind of also like shocked about how much can actually happen behind the scenes that we never ever actually hear of unless you're really doing research on this stuff. So hey, good stuff all here. Got, of course, the college playoffs are going on, and NFL players are coming up. I want to hear your teams, who you think is going to make it the distance and who will be MVP this year. I'll see you on the next one. Peace!